I arrived at that real estate agency, Kuyama Realty, a little before noon. I wasn't entirely sure what I was doing here or what I planned to ask, but at this point, anything was preferable to just cowering in fear. The building was plain and box-shaped. One look and it was obvious the place was closed down. The windows were dusty, obscuring the interior from view. Not that I really wanted to be peering around inside a dark office in the first place. The company was located right there on the CEO's personal property. A high fence extended from the office building and looped around the house next to it. As I walked along the fence, I soon arrived at a massive gate, beyond which I could see a large, old-fashioned house. The gate itself was locked up tight, but there was an intercom system affixed to the fence. I rang the doorbell without hesitation. Inside, I could faintly hear the chime echoing through the house. All at once, memories from yesterday flashed through my mind, sending goosebumps pricking up my arms. The situation was uncannily similar to my experience with apartment 202. Maybe she wasn't home at the moment. I rang the doorbell a second time. No answer. The sudden voice behind me made me jump, apparently. I whirled around to find an unfamiliar woman standing there. Her arms were laden with shopping bags, suggesting she was on her way home from a trip to the grocery store. What a mouthful of a sentence, huh? Especially if you're sucking dick. Her apron was embroidered with the name Alessa O or Alessa Zero? Is she working there maybe? Perhaps that was her name. No, it's not. Why? What happened to her? When did this happen? When? Oh. There's a term for folks like this. Gossipy old neighbor ladies. Perhaps coming here was worth my time after all. Man, you can't call her a gossipy old neighbor lady if you're using it in that extent, I think. Hang himself, we know that already. I feel like so much is getting lost in translation in this game, since you can tell when they say things twice or when they use popular phrases, so at least some that I recognize. Sure enough, it seemed Alessa O was more than willing to talk. So far so good. At this rate, maybe I could get something useful out of him. Yeah? Yeah, you and me and everyone in a 10-mile radius, I thought. Naturally, I kept that little comment to myself. Nani? What did he do? Does this mean he slept with many women? Sorry, I interrupted her. Philanderer. Does this mean he, slept around or something? Okay, yeah. It all sounded like typical neighborhood gossip, but something about it stuck out to me. I was tempted to stick around, but I knew ladies of her caliber were likely to go on and on for hours if given a chance. Seriously? We're going to the hospital that late? All hospitals are basically the same. People milling about in a frenzy, many of them clearly unwell. I knew better than to expect any different. That was a hospital's whole purpose after all, but I still didn't like it. All in all, it felt so unsanitary. Arriving at a general reception area, I inquired after Mrs. Kuyama and was promptly asked to state my relation to her. Man, you don't just go there and tell them the truth. Then again, it's only the half-truth. It was a total half-assed lie, of course, but the receptionist directed me to the internal medicine ward nonetheless. Why? These are no grounds for her to see her. Damn, that's like saying, I met her husband at a party once and we had a really good time. So can I see the dying wife, please? No, she will, don't worry.
意識不明の植物状態なんです。この1年くらい。そんな。
That meant my trip here was utterly wasted, including the bouquet of get-well flowers I brought as a pretext. What is wrong with me today?
一応行ってきます。せっかくお花も持ってきたことだし、お花だけ置いたら帰りますね。お好きにどうぞ。
Ignoring her unfriendly response, I headed off into the internal medicine ward. A drab, sterile smell lingered in the patient's room. Kuyama-san was bone-thin with tubes hooked into every part of her, sleeping peacefully. I set the small vase of flowers down on the side table and gazed at her for a moment. This lead may have been a dead end, but hey, I tried. After that, I promptly turned and left the room. No, you didn't even really try. Ask her. Oh, she's going to stop us, won't she? No? Okay. Shit. What are you doing? By the time I arrived back at the general reception area, I realized I needed to call one of my clients. More specifically, my sister? What? She's your client? She worked for a small-time magazine publisher, as it happened. I was in charge of running their website. Oh, okay. But I wasn't going to have internet access until tomorrow, and I had forgotten to tell her I wouldn't have the latest site update ready until tomorrow night at the earliest. I checked the time, 2 p.m. I knew she might be in a meeting, but I decided I could just leave a voicemail if it came to that. Thankfully, after a few rings, she picked up.
もしもし、翔子？お姉ちゃんごめん。急ぎのようじゃなかったら後でいいかな。更新再開は明日の夜からって伝えたいだけだから、別にもういいけど。会議中？うん。お葬式。お葬式？
Who died? I struggled to keep my voice down. It wasn't exactly the sort of thing one ought to be shouting in the middle of a hospital lobby after all. Well, I think it's okay. Now, does this have any relation to our ghost thing or not? Her uncharacteristically hesitant tone set off red flags in my mind. Nope, that's my phone, sorry. Don't know if you can hear it or if I'll be able to edit it out later. After the call ended, I stared down at my phone for a moment. Something wasn't right, but right now I had no way of figuring it out. I'd just have to ask Shuko for more details later. With that taken care of, the only option left, loath as I was to admit it, was to go home and dive into work. But just as I was about to head for the front entrance, someone tapped me on the shoulder. What? What is he doing here? I turned to find my upstairs neighbor Hisamatsu-san standing there grinning from ear to ear. We certainly seem to be crossing paths a lot these days. No, you? Is it? And you thought, why not visit a local hospital? Just like that, just for fun? His tone was light and casual. It sounded to me like he came here a lot. So who was he visiting? Admittedly, I was a tiny bit curious.
どなたが入院してるんですか？
姉がね。
Oh,
どこがって聞いてもいいのか
she
しら？
tried to kill herself.
いいですよ。
He smiled like it was the most trifling thing in the world.
姉が病んでるのはここです。
And he's pointing to his head, I guess? He indicated his temple.
脳の疾患か
No.
何か？
No, she's crazy, man. The apartment drove her crazy. That's why he's worried about us. That's why he's looking out for us.
ああ、いえ。正確にはここです。
As he spoke, he prodded my chest just above my heart. He's touching our tits, is he? I mean, above the tit, but still. Startled, I covered myself protectively and he snickered. Man, that's sexual harassment.
ああ、ごめんなさい。別にセクハラのつもりはないんですけど。
Nah, sure not.
ここって心？
ええ。精神を病んでもう1年くらい入院してますよ。
Hmm.
どうしてまたそんなことに？
Oh, that's a funny story. You know, she lived in the apartment you lived in. Maybe it wasn't right of me to pry, but somehow it felt like Hisamatsu-san was inviting me to ask.
今日不動産屋さんには行きました？
Oh, he knows. He gave us the hint on purpose. He knows why we're here. He did all of that before as well. He is stuck with his investigations and he wants to team up with us. Nani? The change of subject caught me entirely off guard. Hisamatsu-san shot me a highly amused look. I got the distinct sense that this little punk was messing with me on purpose.
ほら、行くって言ってたじゃないですか。
No, I didn't. You told me to go.
行きました。
何か有益なことは聞けました？
No, and you know that.
聞けたような聞けないような。
Hisamatsu-san smirked like he'd seen it coming.
俺の姉、久松典子って言うんですけど、以前201号室に住んでいたんですよ。
That is what we thought already. Confirmed.
201号室。今、結城さん
Your
が住んでる部屋に
apartment.
ね。
Yep.
それって一体。
Just then, I remembered Hirai-kun had told me that a young woman by the name of Hisamatsu had lived in 201 before me. As it dawned on me, Hisamatsu-san's expression shifted.
それは聞いたんですね。
いや、久松さんのお姉さんだとは知らなかったけど。
じゃあ、あの部屋が姉をあんな風にしたことは？
No? What my apartment did to his sister? What was that supposed to mean?
あんな風にってどういう意味？
It's getting creepy again. Evidently, Hisamatsu-san had anticipated my question. Grinning, he shot me a double thumbs up. He's being awfully nonchalant about this, I think. Maybe he just had to deal with it so much that he can laugh about it now. I don't know.
ここじゃなんですから、場所変えましょう。
Then again, I quite like his behavior in this. It's not comic relief. It's more like, you know that he's downplaying this, since otherwise he would just start crying on the spot, I guess. So, where are we now? Despite its age, Hashida General Hospital had clearly invested a fair bit of money in its facilities. In the center of the connecting corridor between the newly built internal medicine wing and the patient ward in the north wing, there's set a fancy little terrace, a hanging garden of sorts. Nice. Beyond, I could see a patient rehabilitation center with large physical therapy space. The ceiling was panned with glass like a greenhouse, or paint? And evidently designed to be left open on sunny days. A pleasant breeze rustled in through the open windows. Oh, there we are. Oh, we look pretty cute, I have to say. I mean, the perspective is kinda weird and we're poking our tits out like crazy, but we look cute. I took a seat on a bench next to a small flower bed and Hisamatsu-san handed me one of the canned coffees he'd bought from the vending machine on the way here. But he didn't open his. Instead, he kept his eyes on me. I also quite like the color palette this game is using, with everything is tinted blue. Looking at him up close, I realized he was actually rather handsome. Maybe if he shaved and got a nicer pair of glasses. Anyway. I guess he isn't taking care of himself since... Man. He's taking care of his sister and he's trying to solve whatever happened to her, so... He's not writing any thesis at all, I think. I think that's all just a front. As a single woman in her 30s, I wasn't used to being stared at so... intensely. You are in your 30s? Holy shit, you look awesome. And again, it's anime, isn't it? I attempted to steer the conversation into more productive territory, and Hisamatsu-san nodded and cracked open his can of coffee. I don't mind really. Yeah, I did. Yeah, if you knew, why say it back? Why don't you say it? Why didn't he say it back then? If he knew, that's what I want to say. This game is breaking both my mind and my ability to speak. It was hardly a question, rhetorical at best. For a second I wasn't sure how I was even supposed to respond. Instead, I took a sip of my coffee. Oh god, I'd like a coffee now. I saw the hand. Before I could so much as swallow, he asked the second question. Evidently my younger companion was the impatient type. Oh wow. I looked up at him sharply and found him staring firmly back. His steely expression contrasted sharply with his casual tone. Oh shit. Yeah, you and me both, I thought. From there, I told him everything that had happened since the day I moved in. I explained how I'd seen a hand reaching out from inside 202, only for the apartment itself to be revealed as empty. Then I talked about the hand I'd seen last night, and finally, the series of events that had led me here. It felt like a ridiculously long story considering it all started just 2 days ago. After I finished my story, Hisamatsu-san began to tell his, bit by bit, his tone uncertain. You'd think that something like this would hit the news or something, even just the local news. Last spring, Hisamatsu Noriko was forced to move after her job transferred her to another branch. The living space allocated to her felt far too large for an unmarried woman, but she was too busy with work to look for a better place herself, so she ended up staying right where she was, in Châtelet Roman apartment 202? 201, sorry. She didn't notice anything strange until about 2 weeks had passed. Wow, that's kinda long compared to us. She was a busy woman, so it was entirely possible she'd simply overlooked anything worth happening prior to then. But one day, when she was drying her laundry on the balcony, she noticed handprints. Dozens of handprints, all over her sliding glass door. That's actually really fucking creepy. Nani? Noriko hadn't had any visitors to her apartment since moving in, and she was told the apartment next to hers was empty. She wondered if it was evidence that someone had been trying to break in. She was so creeped out she called the landlady, and then the police, to come and look at it. But there was no proof that anything had been stolen, nor anything that could prove how long the prince had been there in the first place. In the end, the police could only promise to heighten their patrols. But even after that night, strange happenings continued to plague her life.
最初は俺、姉ちゃんが疲れてるんだと思ってたんですよ。もしくは、たちの悪いストーカーにあったって。
The banging noises were localized to her windows at first, but over time it moved to the walls of her closet. What started as a few taps escalated into hours and hours of noise all night long. But no matter how much she suffered, the landlady continued to shrug it off, insisting the apartment next door was empty. She begged her employer to let her move out, but they refused to break the lease agreement.
2ヶ月くらい経った頃かな。
大吾、お願い、助けて。もうこれ以上こんなところに住めないわ。
住めないってどういうことだよ。まだ引っ越したばっかりだろ。
You know, at this point, I think it would be best to invite someone over so they can experience it firsthand. Especially the knocking thing.
壁から誰か出てくるの。
What?
多分女の手が。どうしよう、大吾。
Daigo, what the fuck should she do?
壁から。
詳しいことはわからないんですけどね。その頃にはもう姉は見る影もなく痩せこけて、実際に何が起こったのか詳しく聞ける余裕はなかったんです。
After missing work for 2 straight weeks, Noriko was taken to Ashita General Hospital due to extreme malnutrition and sleep deprivation. Man, it took them 2 weeks. Fuck me. The next time she awoke, it was clear she had lost her sanity.
姉を最初に発見したのは俺だったんですけどね。姉がやったと思うんですけど、
skip the voice now.
壁中新聞紙が貼られてて、窓なんかガムテープでベタベタで。
But why? Was she afraid that it was really coming out of the wall and the newspaper somehow helped?
リビングでソファーの下に隠れるように倒れてたんです。
A shiver ran down my spine to think this took place in my apartment. I felt sick to my stomach.
大丈夫ですか？
Clearly, I must have looked as sick as I felt. Hisamatsu-san shot me a sympathetic look.
じゃあ昨日見た。
It was real!
見間違いでも何でもないと思います。それどころか姉に起こったことが繰り返されるなら。
I had unwittingly ensconced myself inside a waking nightmare. Fear and panic shot through me, shredding my composure.
すみません。怖がらせるようなことを言っちゃって。
My phone yet again, I'm sorry.
私が知りたがったことだから。別に久松さんが悪いわけじゃ。
I cursed myself for thinking it might not be so bad. I thought I was playing detective, but in actuality, I was just a victim in a horror movie.
何かあったら俺の部屋に避難しに来てください。俺の部屋は何ともないんで。
避難って。
あ、大丈夫です。俺年上にはとっても紳士的なんで。
Man, he's really weird about this thing. His tone remained cheery despite the conversation we were having. Just then a thought occurred to me.
そういえば久松さんってどうしてあの部屋に住んでるんですか？
The man returned a sad smile.
どうしても知りたいんですよ。何が姉をあんな風にしてしまったのか。
好奇心にしては危険だと思うけど。
義務かな。両親が結構前に死んで、俺をここまで面倒見てくれたのは姉なんで。その姉があんな風になっちゃったのに何もしてあげられなかったから。
He grimaced bitterly, his eyes on a can of coffee, his hands trembling.
俺が入居した時って下の部屋はまだ銀行の借り上げ中で、上の部屋しか空い
Wow,
てなかったん
so
ですよ。
he actually wanted to move into the actual apartment or what?
だから301に入ったんです。 今度下に住む誰かに何かあった時、
Wow.
手助けができればいいなって。
That's admirable.
すぐに来てくれた。
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I predicted much of it, but
下
still.
心もありますよ。
Oh yeah. My heart skipped a beat, almost like I was a teenager again. But Hisamatsu-san smiled innocently.
手助けをすることで姉がああなった原因に近づけるかもしれないし、実際ちょっと近づけてるみたいだし。
Oh, you motherfucker. No. For some reason, I felt the tiniest bit disappointed.
まあそういうわけなんで、何かあったら遠慮なく上に来てください。携帯鳴らしてもらってもいいんで。
分かったわ。ところで久松さん自身が掴んでる独自情報とかはないんですか？私よりは長くあそこにいるんだから何か知ってそうだけど。
Hisamatsu-san smirked.
あるにはありますよ。
Oh god.
教えてくださいよ。こうなった以上情報はできるだけ共有しないと。
じゃあ一旦帰りましょう。俺もいつもそういうものを持ち歩いてるわけじゃないんで、見せたいものがいくつかあります。
Okay. Is this an invitation? With that decided, Hisamatsu-san finished his coffee in one swallow.